Welcome to Dr. Damons. How are you doing this morning, Doctor?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to your viewers and your listeners. I'm good. How are you doing?
Oh, fantastic. Dr. Damons, dealing with the pressures and managing fear of failure. Talk to us about that, please. It's so important, right?
No, it's very important, especially the amount of stress and pressures matriculants go through when they're near the final exams, because they're always so scared of failing. And I think it is important that they practice self-compassion and understand that everybody makes mistakes. And even when you do make a mistake, there's always a way to rectify or remedy the mistake afterwards. And I think it is important that you focus on your progress and not necessarily perfection. We can't always be perfect, but we can definitely monitor progress. And I think what you've mentioned is mindfulness, practicing relaxation techniques, and being able to start looking at ways of calming your spirit, calming yourself, and looking after your mental well-being during this extreme times of stress, by practicing meditation if you can. Exercise, physical exercise is just as good as mental exercise during extreme periods of stress.
Well, that's pretty on point there, Dr. Damons. But let's just get into it. I mean, can you give us 5 proven study tips to increase the chances of excelling in exams?
I think these are tips that should be practiced throughout the year of studies and not just when it comes to exam time, because it does alleviate some of the pressures when you get to the exam time as well. So by practicing proactive recall, by testing what you've read and whether you can recall it, also by taking periodical breaks and necessary breaks throughout your periods of study, because you don't want to suffer from fatigue as well. And that's when you sometimes get overwhelmed and anxious, and people say they blacked out during the exams because they overexerted themselves. And another method is to teach what you've learned. It's always better if you can explain what you've learned to somebody else. That makes you realize whether you actually understand the concepts as well. And then also prioritize testing, self-testing, revision, so that you can boost your focus, your memory, and also assist you in problem-solving skills.
Oh, that's very practical. Thank you so much. Now, one of the things I remember when it was, exam time was that thing of procrastination. You need to study for that big exam and you feel the tension rising, but instead of studying, you go and clean your bedroom or, whatever. How do we overcome that procrastination?
Don't we all? Some of us actually study the night before, which is just as bad.
Yeah.
But I think you just need to take the first step of starting. Once you start, you can start progressing. It's making that step to start, because the longer you take to start, the quicker the time goes and the less time you have to prepare. I think also do your best to start every single day and not wait till the last day, which often is the case because we think, tomorrow is another day. And then tomorrow comes and it's by the exam time. And then also by setting yourself clear goals and timelines, because the only person you're competing with is yourself. So if you can trust yourself and respect yourself, you'll set those goals and those deadlines and you'll actually meet them. And then also reward yourself for motivation. If you've actually started, reward yourself for that, because that is the first step. It's a big step. And every single day as you progress, you rewarding yourself is motivating you to actually go further and make sure that you stay on track.
Absolutely brilliant. Something else I think also that's very that will help is keeping your mind focused on what's ahead. Hey, your future, and understanding your options, understanding your career path. If you can just chat more in depth on that, please.
Well, wouldn't it be nice if we all knew in grade 6 what we wanted to do after school? And sometimes even in grade 11, we're not quite sure in terms of what our possible career path or options are. And I think in that regard, it's important that you as an individual start looking at ways of finding out what careers you are most likely would like to go into, and doing things like a career compass that you can check and see what career options do you have and what you need to study. So being prepared in advance in terms of where you want to go is always a good way of starting off your career. But understanding who you are and what careers are most likely your best interest is to go and do self-evaluations, find out tools to make you understand what are the type of career options that are open to you and whether you've made the correct subject choices for those careers.
Sure.
That's a good one.
Thank you so much. If you've just joined the conversation, we're talking about matric exams, but as a matter of fact, it applies to all exams, and wanting to just give some practical tips and helps. And on that point, many people have that fear and the anxiety because it's the matric final exams, and nobody needs to tell the matriculants that this is very, very important. But there is such a thing as second chances and other ways to reach your desired career. Talk to us about that, Dr. Damons.
Well, you see, the fortunate thing is that not every institution or higher institution of learning work on APS scores, because that is what you need to get into a specific institution and study a specific program. So depending on which institution you choose, they will obviously look at whether they go with APS scores or not. At Boston, we do not use APS scoring because we understand that students finish matric at different levels. So if you do not get a bachelor pass or diploma pass or higher certificate pass, there's always other alternatives like short learning programs that could ultimately lead you into a path where you ultimately get into the qualification of choice you want to study. So depending on the matric pass you have, you can go to institutions like Boston and other institutions that don't use APS scoring to get into higher or further learning. And that also provides you with an alternative way to get into higher education. Matrics must also understand that should they not pass this time around, they do have a second opportunity to rewrite their exam or to even better their scores if that is what they ultimately want to do. They mustn't think of not passing as an absolute failure. It's probably just a setback, but it could also be a stepping stone into something different.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, Dr. Damons. We really appreciate your insight this morning and your time as well. But as we wrap up our interview this morning, can you just share with our listeners where can people go for more information, more details?
Well, I can show you some of the website. They can go into Boston's website to see at the career options they have, and they can also do the career compass, which is free of charge for them. And the website is www.boston.ac.za, and they can click on the career compass link where they can do a self-evaluation in terms of the type of career options that's available to them and the subject choices that they would need to focus on. So that's one of the websites they can go on to. They can also go on to a number of other websites like LinkedIn to see at what careers out there they should look at in terms of studying towards, and what are the skills that are in demand that they should aim for when they go into looking at the career choices they want to make.
Brilliant.
Sure, that is so good. Dr. Damons, great to chat to you. Thank you so much, giving us some real good practical advice. And I love the fact that there's that free tool on the website, boston.ac.za, where you can go and discover what career path you should potentially look at. So that's very, very helpful. Thanks again for your time, and to all the matriculants, we wish you all the best as you continue to embark on these final exams.